Let me ask you something. Has anyone ever told you that something did not happen, when you know with absolute certainty that it did? Has anyone ever looked you straight in the eyes and said, "I never said that. You are remembering it wrong. That is not what happened," and made you actually start to wonder if maybe they were right? Has anyone ever made you feel like your emotional response to something was so disproportionate, so dramatic, so sensitive, so unreasonable, that you ended up apologizing for having a completely valid reaction? If your answer to any of those questions is yes, this video is going to be one of the most important things you watch this year. Because what I just described is not a misunderstanding. It is not a communication problem. It is not two people with different memories of the same event. It is gaslighting, and it is one of the most psychologically damaging forms of abuse that exists. Not because it hurts you physically, not because anyone can see it happening, but because it attacks the one thing that everything else in your life depends on: your trust in your own mind. Stay with me through this entire video, because by the end, you are going to understand something about your life that you have been trying to understand for a very long time. And that understanding is going to change everything. Part 1. What gaslighting actually is and what it is not. Before we go into the signs, I need to clear something up, because gaslighting has become one of the most used and most misused words in modern psychology. Not every disagreement is gaslighting. Not every person who remembers something differently than you is gaslighting you. Not every argument where someone pushes back on your version of events is gaslighting. Gaslighting is something very specific. It is the deliberate, consistent, systematic attempt to make someone question their own reality, their own memory, their own perception, their own sanity. The word itself comes from a 1944 film called Gaslight, where a husband deliberately dims the gaslights in his home and then tells his wife she is imagining the change, over and over, until she genuinely begins to believe she is losing her mind. That is the essence of gaslighting. Not a single incident of someone denying something happened, but a sustained, deliberate pattern of making you doubt your own experience until you stop trusting your own mind completely and start depending entirely on their version of reality instead. That dependency, that complete erosion of your self-trust, is the goal. And once they achieve it, they have a level of control over you that no amount of physical force could ever produce. Part 2. The 7 signs you are being gaslit right now. Sign number 1. They deny things you know with certainty happened. This is the most obvious sign, and also the one that works most effectively. They said something, you heard it, you remember it clearly, and they look you straight in the face and say, "I never said that. You are making things up. That never happened." The first time it happens, you are confused. You trust your memory. You know what you heard. The second time, you start to wonder. Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you filled in a gap with something that was not there. The 10th time, you have stopped trusting your own memory almost entirely. You check with them before believing your own experience. You apologize constantly for misremembering things you did not misremember. That erosion of memory confidence is not accidental. It is the entire point. Because a person who does not trust their own memory cannot effectively object to anything, cannot hold anyone accountable for anything, cannot leave a situation because they cannot even trust their own assessment that something is wrong. When someone consistently denies things you know happened, that is not a memory difference. That is a weapon. Sign number 2. They trivialize your feelings constantly. You are upset about something real, something valid, something that any reasonable person would be upset about. And their response? You are too sensitive. You are overreacting. You are being dramatic. Nobody else would react this way. You always make everything into a big deal. Notice what that response does. It does not address what you are actually upset about. It does not engage with the substance of your concern. It completely redirects the conversation away from their behavior and toward your reaction to their behavior. Suddenly, you are not someone with a valid concern. You are someone with a disproportionate emotional response that needs to be managed. And if this happens consistently enough, you start editing your emotional responses before you even have them. You start asking yourself, am I being too sensitive? Am I overreacting? Before you have even finished feeling the feeling. That internal censorship, that constant self-questioning of your own emotional experience, is one of the most insidious effects of gaslighting. Because it happens inside you, silently, and eventually feels like it came from you. Sign number 3. They turn everything around on you. You try to address something they did, something specific, something you can clearly identify and articulate. And somehow, within minutes, the conversation has completely reversed. You are no longer addressing their behavior. You are now defending your own. They found something, anything from your past, your tone, your approach, your history, that shifts the entire focus of the conversation. They did not defend themselves. They counterattacked. And you got so busy defending yourself that the original issue, the thing you actually needed to address, disappeared completely. This is not an accident. It is a technique. And the more effectively they do it, the more you learn that bringing up concerns leads to being attacked. So you stop bringing up concerns. You absorb the discomfort instead. You tell yourself it is not worth it. And they get to keep doing exactly what they were doing. Sign number 4. They use your closest people against you. This one is particularly cruel. They enlist people you love and trust, friends, family, colleagues, to reinforce their version of reality. Sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. Sometimes those people do not even know they are being used. Everyone thinks you are overreacting. Everyone agrees that you are too sensitive. Everyone has been hearing their version of events for long enough that they genuinely believe it. And now, when you try to reach out for support, for a reality check, for someone to confirm that you are not losing your mind, you find that the people closest to you are reflecting back the same reality the gaslighter constructed. That isolation, being surrounded by people who have been recruited into someone else's version of reality, is one of the most psychologically devastating experiences a person can go through. Because the final thing you were depending on, external validation of your own experience, has been removed. Sign number 5. They rewrite history. Conversations you had, agreements you made, things that were said, decided, promised. All of it gets quietly, consistently rewritten over time. And they do it so smoothly, so confidently, with such complete certainty, that you start to wonder if you are the one who is confused. Maybe you did agree to that. Maybe that is what was decided. Maybe you are remembering it the way you wanted it to go, rather than the way it actually went. The rewriting of shared history is particularly damaging because your entire understanding of the relationship, of what was real between you, is built on that shared history. When that history keeps changing, you lose your footing completely. You stop being able to trust your own account of what has happened between you. And without that, you cannot make any clear decision about the relationship at all. Sign number 6. Their words and actions are completely different. They say all the right things. They tell you they love you. They tell you they support you. They tell you they would never hurt you. They tell you they want what is best for you. And then they do the opposite. Consistently. Repeatedly. With complete comfort. And when you point out the gap, when you say what you are doing does not match what you are saying, they make you feel like you are the problem for noticing. You are focusing on the negative. You are not appreciating how much they do. You are never satisfied. The gap between words and actions in a gaslighting relationship is enormous. But you are trained, over time, not to look at the actions, to focus on the words, to give the benefit of the doubt to the stated intention, regardless of the consistent behavior. And that training, to ignore what someone does and believe only what they say, is one of the most dangerous psychological positions a person can be in. Sign number 7. You feel confused, anxious, and unlike yourself. This is the sign that is not about them at all. It is about what is happening to you. Do you feel more confused than you used to? More anxious? Do you apologize constantly for things that do not require apology? Do you feel less certain of yourself than you did before this relationship? Do you feel like you used to know who you were, and now you are not sure? That change in you, that erosion of your confidence, your certainty, your sense of self, is one of the clearest indicators that something is systematically wrong. Healthy relationships do not do that. Healthy relationships, even difficult ones, even ones with real conflict, leave you feeling more certain of yourself over time, more seen, more known.
The relationship that consistently leaves you feeling less like yourself, less certain, less confident, less real, is not a difficult relationship. It is a damaging one. Part 3. Why you did not see it, and why that is not your fault. Here is what I need you to understand if you are sitting here recognizing your own life in what you just heard. Gaslighting works on intelligent people, on perceptive people, on emotionally aware people. It does not work on people who are naive or weak or foolish. It works precisely on people who are capable of self-reflection, who can genuinely consider the possibility that they might be wrong, that they might be misremembering, that they might be overreacting. Your capacity for self-reflection, the thing that makes you a thoughtful, reasonable, emotionally mature person, was used against you. You were not fooled because you were not paying attention. You were fooled because you were paying exactly the kind of attention that a psychologically sophisticated manipulator knows how to exploit. And there is something else. Gaslighting almost never starts at full intensity. It starts small. So small that each individual incident seems explainable, forgettable, not worth making a big deal of. By the time the pattern is clear, by the time the cumulative effect is undeniable, you have already been so thoroughly trained to doubt your own perception that recognizing the pattern feels almost impossible. You did not miss obvious signs. There were no obvious signs at the beginning. They became obvious only after years of work that you were never supposed to see. Part 4. What to do right now.
Step 1. Name it. The single most powerful thing you can do right now is name what is happening. Not to them, not in a confrontation, but to yourself. What I am experiencing has a name. It is gaslighting. It is real. It is documented. It happens to intelligent, perceptive, capable people. And it is not my fault. That naming, that placing of a real word on a real experience, begins to restore something that was systematically taken from you: your trust in your own perception. Step 2. Document everything. Start writing things down. Conversations. What was said. What was agreed to. What happened. Not because you will necessarily use it as evidence, but because having a written record protects your grip on reality when someone is trying to loosen it. When they tell you it never happened, you have the date and the details. That record is not paranoia. It is self-protection. Step 3. Rebuild your external reality. Checks carefully. Without telling the gaslighter what you are doing, start rebuilding your connections with people who are not part of their narrative. People who knew you before. People who respond to you with consistency and honesty. Share carefully. Test slowly. But begin the process of having external points of reference for your own reality that exist completely outside the gaslighter's influence. Step 4. Trust the pattern, not the explanation. One of the most effective tools of the gaslighter is the individual explanation. For every single incident, there is a reason, a justification, a context that makes it seem understandable. Stop evaluating incidents individually. Look at the pattern. Any single incident might be explainable, but a consistent pattern of your reality being denied, your feelings being trivialized, your history being rewritten, and your confidence being eroded, that pattern does not have an innocent explanation. Trust what the pattern tells you, not what the individual explanation offers. Step 5. Find professional support. Gaslighting causes real psychological damage. The erosion of self-trust, the chronic self-doubt, the anxiety, the confusion, these are not just feelings. They are symptoms of sustained psychological harm. A therapist who understands narcissistic abuse and gaslighting can help you rebuild your sense of reality in ways that conversations alone cannot achieve. You deserve that support, not as a luxury, as a necessity. The truth that sets you free. Here is where I want to leave you. The most lasting damage of gaslighting is not the specific things that were denied or rewritten. It is the relationship you develop with your own mind as a result. The way you start asking permission from your own perception before trusting it. The way you preemptively apologize for your own experience. The way you have learned to check your reality against someone else's before believing it. Healing from gaslighting is, at its core, the slow, patient, deliberate work of learning to trust yourself.
Because your perception of reality is not broken. It was attacked. And there is an enormous difference between those two things. You are not crazy. You never were. And if this video helped you finally see something clearly that you have been trying to understand for a very long time, please share it with one person who needs to hear it. Because somewhere right now, someone is sitting with this same confusion, this same self-doubt, this same quiet terror that maybe they really are losing their mind. And they need to know that they are not. Subscribe, because what is coming next goes even deeper into the psychology that explains the most difficult dynamics in your life. I will see you in the next one.